Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This is Anant Raghav from Govardhaniko village. I welcome all of you for this wonderful festival called the Krishna Fest 2021. Today, we are going to speak on a very enchanting topic or an enchanting pastime of Krishna. The, the topic is the mother who bound the universe. In common words, this is also called as the Damodar Lila. Yes, one of the most beautiful pastime of Krishna, the Damodar Lila. This Damodar Lila comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8. So, we will describe the beautiful pastime of Damodar Lila and how Krishna gets this beautiful name called Damodar. Now, this beautiful episode of the Srimad Bhagavatam describes the glory of Mother Yashoda. At the same time, it also describes the glory of bhakti or devotion. This beautiful episode also describes the greatness of God. Many times we have seen or heard God is great, isn't it? So when we say God is great, we say, oh yes, God is great. But many times we only hear this aspect of greatness. But today we'll also speak about the sweetness of God. So we'll also discuss the greatness of God at the same time the sweetness of God. Right? So we all have heard innumerable pastimes of Krishna. In fact, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes there are hundreds and thousands of different pastimes which Krishna performed. And he does it just to attract all the conditioned souls, right? So we are celebrating this Janmashtami festival, and there are different devotees who have been speaking of different leelas of the Lord. So what is leela? Leela means the when a Lord does something and that activity is not ordinary, it is extraordinary, right? Krishna in the Gita says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tatva deham punarjanma naiti mameti swarjuna. Krishna says that one who understands my transcendental birth, my transcendental appearance, and my transcendental activities, upon leaving this body, he doesn't come back to this world. So that is the difference between an ordinary activity of an ordinary person and at the same time an extraordinary of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we conditioned souls or ordinary human beings of this world, when we do something, it is ordinary activity. But when Krishna does something that is extraordinary activity, that's why it is called as Leela or pastime. Right? That is the glory of Krishna. So we must have heard so many beautiful activities of Krishna. When Krishna was born, the beautiful advent of Krishna, how Krishna was born, the beautiful Leela has been explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Shukadeva Goswami, how he appeared in the womb of Mother Devaki, and then how Kamsa tried to kill him, but in the dead of the night he appeared, and then later on he was brought to Gokul with Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and then there was a whole festival, and then there were so many wonderful pastimes Krishna performed. Krishna killed the demon Putana, then Shakatasur, and Trinavarta. So in this way, each and every activity activity which Krishna has done is extraordinary, right? Extraordinary is the only word I can express and glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So, amongst all these beautiful qualities or beautiful pastimes of Krishna, one pastime is the most famous, and it is famous amongst everybody. In fact, any painting of Krishna you see and his childhood form, this activity or this pastime is quite famous. And what is this pastime? Any guesses? Yes, it is none other than the stealing of the butter or the Makhan Chor Leela. Right? Everybody knows that when Krishna was small, he was very naughty. He used to steal butter, and he used to enjoy stealing butter, break the pots, and steal the butter among with his friends. And then he'll eat all the butter, and once he's completely satisfied, his stomach is full with all the butter, all his friends are happy, then he feeds the monkeys. And all the monkeys come and they enjoy the butter. Now the question is that why Krishna is so much, serving or feeding the monkeys? Our Acharya explained that in the last incarnation, you know, when Krishna appeared as Lord Ram, and Lord Ram was trying to find Sita. Who were the people who helped Krishna? Who helped Lord Ram? They were the Vanaras or the monkeys. So now it is said, our Acharya has explained that Krishna is trying to, help or reciprocate with all the services that the monkeys have performed, right? So that's why Krishna was feeding the monkeys. So when you're talking about the stealing of the butter pastime, now someone might say, how can God steal something, right? Now, if an ordinary person steals something, he's defamed, he's punished, sometimes he's put in the prison, right? It is considered very bad. Oh, this person is a steal, he's a chore, right? But talking about Krishna, people are confused that how can God steal something? And that too is not stealing gold or diamonds, he's stealing butter. What is this mystery? Let's try and understand this. But before understanding Krishna's pastimes, we should understand the tattva, the foundation, the philosophy behind it. And that philosophy has been explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna in the 5th chapter, 29th verse says, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suradam sarvabhutanam yatva mam shanti mrichati. Krishna tells that I am the supreme enjoyer. I am the Lord of the entire universe. Sarvaloka Maheshwar. The entire universe, the entire cosmic manifestation belongs to me. Surudam Sarva Bhutanam. And he is also the ever well-wisher friend of all the living entities. Right? And one who knows this, he is the most peaceful person. Shantim Rikchati. He can attain peace. Right? So this is the most important verse of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches us or which educates us, tells us that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and he is the Lord of the entire universe. Right? Now, when somebody is the Lord of the entire universe, that means he's the owner of the entire universe. Whatever he takes, that belongs to him. Right? Then how can he be thief? If he's taking something which belongs to him, how can he be thief? Let's take an example. Mr. Ratan Tata, he goes to his office and from his office, he takes one pen. And one employee, a foolish employee, he comes and he tells Mr. Ratan Tata that, my dear sir, you took a pen. This doesn't belong to you. You are a thief. What would you say a person like that? Similarly, Krishna, he externally might be seen as stealing something, but actually is not stealing because everything in this world belongs to him. Then the question arises, if everything in this world belongs to him, then why does he has to steal? right? The answer is given is because he's stealing the butter because he wants to reciprocate with his loving devotees. He wants to create an excitement. He wants to create some extraordinary relationship with his devotees. That special rasa by which his devotees are happy, he is happy. And that whole connection, that is the whole aspect of loving devotional service, where he is reciprocating with his devotees and his devotees are reciprocating with his love. And that is the ununderstandable and extraordinary pastimes of Krishna. So Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. So when Krishna is actually stealing the butter, he's not stealing actually the butter, but the acharyas explain that he's stealing the hearts of the gopis. He's trying to connect with them, he's trying to serve them, he's trying to develop a wonderful relationship with his devotees. So when Krishna and Balaram, when they were small, they used to steal butter. They used to go at the house of the gopis and they used to break the pots and steal the butter. Now, externally, this would cause difficulty or anxiety or kind of, you know, disappointment for the gopis, but then they used to also love Krishna very much. Because Krishna was the darling of Vrindavan. The boy, or this beautiful boy Krishna, was loved by everyone. The whole of Vrindavan, they loved Krishna, more than their children. So this was every day's activity where Krishna used to go and steal butter and enjoy and then make the whole house messy. So all the gopis, externally they were angry, but internally they were very happy that Krishna came and ate the butter from my house. So one fine day, what happened? Krishna stole the butter, ate the butter, and then left. And the gopis were very angry and disappointed. So all the gopis came together. They made a campaign, and they went and uh, came near the house of Mother Yashoda. Now, Mother Yashoda, the mother of Krishna, who is considered as the epitome of love for a mother or of Vatsalya Bhav, she loved Krishna so much because every moment she was only thinking that how can I serve Krishna? How can I please Krishna? And that was the epitome of Vatsalya Bhav. So when she hears that all these gopis have come to meet, she goes and talks to them, and each and every gopi starts complaining about Krishna, that this boy, Krishna, he's doing this, he's stealing the butter, he's doing this, he's doing that. And after hearing all the complaints, she becomes upset that my son Krishna is causing so much difficulty or disappointment to all of them. I think I should teach something. I should teach a lesson to my son, Krishna. So then she said, okay, if all of you are complaining and if my child is giving so much trouble to you, okay, so I decide from today onwards, my son, Krishna, will never come out from this house. The moment Mother Yashoda speaks this, immediately all the gopis unanimously tells Mother Yashoda, oh Mother Yashoda, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Because the because the reason why we are coming here and speaking about Krishna is because we just need an excuse to speak about Krishna. We just need an excuse to speak about Krishna because Krishna is so dear to us. Krishna is so dear to all of us, and we just want to speak about him. So that is the glory of Krishna, and that is how much Krishna is loved by all the Brajvasis, including the Gopas, the Gopis, the cowherd boys, everybody. So that was the glory of Krishna. So now, hearing the beautiful pastimes of Krishna and hearing that every day Krishna is stealing butter, Mother Yashoda felt that why is my son, why is he stealing butter? Now, generally, in this world, who steals? A person who doesn't have money, a person who cannot afford to eat, or he's hungry who has and not eaten for days, and then he goes and steals something. But Krishna was the son of Nanda Maharaj. Now Nanda Maharaj was the king of Vrindavan, and Mother Yashoda was the queen of Vrindavan. Now why would Krishna do it? Again, same thing. Because Krishna wants to steal the heart of his devotees. He wants to develop that loving reciprocation for the devotees. So, hearing this enchanting pastimes of Krishna and hearing so many complaints of Krishna, Mother Yashoda thought that, okay, tomorrow onwards, I will try to make freshly churned butter for my son Krishna. And I will make it so tasty that Krishna will not have to go out and steal butter. So then she decided of making butter with her own hands. Now that is motherly love. Many times today people want to eat outside, right? They want to eat from restaurants, they want to eat from different outlets. But then there is no comparison when a mother, with all her love, with all her attachment, cooks for the family members. And that love has that effect on the heart. And then heart becomes soft and it has a transformative effect. So, based on that, Mother Jashoda thought that I will personally make butter for my child Krishna. And in this way, she plans to make the beautiful butter with her own hands. And that is the beautiful episode of Damodar Lila we'll be describing. One day, on the day of Diwali, yes, on the day of Diwali, Mother Jashoda, she decided that she will make the best makhan or the best quality butter for Krishna. And she also decided to make the best quality sweets for Krishna. Even today, on the occasion of Diwali, we make sweets. We go to different people and we greet them Happy Diwali, and then we greet them sweets. So Mother Yashoda, she started this, and she wanted to feed Krishna with wonderful, wonderful, high quality butter, and at the same time high quality milk sweets. So she planned to get the best ingredient to make the best butter. She had she has actually more than 900,000 cows, that is 9 lakh cows, and out of that 9 lakh cows she chose the best cows who gives the best milk. In fact, the milk of that cow was considered as nectar, amrita, and taking that milk, she personally milked the cow, and then before milking, she fed the cow with special Padmaganda grass, and then after eating that grass, that milk was, taken out, and with that milk, you know, the yogurt was made, and with that yogurt, the butter was being made. Now, many times today, people make butter is they just take the malai or the cream of the milk and then they make the butter. But originally, they used to make curd or yogurt and then they used to churn with their own hands. Yes. Even in villages today, they do that. It's called as the churning rod. They have a churning rod, and the ladies they have ropes, and with their hands they nicely churn, and that butter is really very tasty, right? So Mother Yashoda early in the morning woke up very very early, and now she was churning this butter for the pleasure of Krishna. The whole idea was that let Krishna taste this butter, let Krishna like this butter, and with that whole attitude, with that wholehearted desire to please Krishna, she was churning and absorbed in making the butter. So while she was churning, she was singing beautiful activities of Krishna. Actually, that is called Kirtanam. Kirtanam means glorifying Krishna. So she was churning the milk or the butter for making buttermilk to make the butter, and while doing this, she was actually remembering Krishna. So while churning, if you notice when the ladies make the butter while they are churning, the bangles, makes a jingling sound. And hearing that sound, Krishna was a baby boy, was sleeping. He woke up. Now, when he heard that sound, immediately he went near Mother Yashoda. And seeing his mother, Krishna suddenly became hungry. And he was wanting her breast milk. He wanted to drink the milk of his mother. So immediately what he did, he just went and hold the churning rod and told the mother that, my dear mother, please give me your milk. And seeing the beautiful face of darling Krishna, seeing that amazing beauty of Krishna, Mother Yashoda couldn't resist. Her motherly love expanded, and she immediately stopped the churning of the butter, and she took Krishna on her lap and started feeding her breast milk. And Krishna was enjoying the milk, and Krishna was drinking the milk, and Mother Yashoda was so happy seeing Krishna being satisfied. Now, everything is going on wonderful, but suddenly there is something very amazing which is happening now. Now comes the twist of the story. The twist of the story is Mother Yashoda, as she was making wonderful milk sweets, so she had kept the milk to boil on the stove. Now, when the milk was boiling, you know, the milk, now our Acharya explains that everything in this, in the spiritual world, they are actually personalities and they enhance Krishna's pleasure in every Leela, right? So our Acharya has explained that the milk was also a personality because the milk started thinking that this milk, you know, Mother Yashoda will be using for making sweets, but the idea is, if what is the use of this milk if Krishna is not going to drink it? Because Krishna is busy drinking the milk of Mother Yashoda. So then she thought that, what is going to happen to us? So our acharyas described that the milk thought, let's end our life. So the milk started boiling and it was about to spill out from the stove. And when it started spilling out, that was the time where Mother Yashoda saw and reminded, oh, the milk for the sweets is getting ready, but what to do. So immediately she took off Krishna and put her baby child on the floor, and she started running towards the kitchen and took off that milk from the stove. Now, Krishna didn't like this. Krishna, he felt that he's been ignored. He felt that how can she leave me for that milk? So Krishna thought, you know, this is not good. She should have not done this. So immediately, uh, Krishna became angry. And many times we must have seen in children, children become upset when somebody ignores them or somebody does not pay attention to them. And that was the time Krishna became angry, and his anger came on the butter pot. So, although the butter was ready, what Krishna did, he took a stone and broke the butter pot. And when the butter was, broken, after that, all the butter came out, and Krishna started eating it. And he just not just started eating it, he invited all the monkeys too. And the monkeys started eating it, and within no time, the whole house was full of butter, and there was complete mess. And Krishna was enjoying, all the monkeys enjoying, and at that moment, Mother Yashoda comes. Now, seeing this scene full of mess, she becomes really angry. Now, she's been hearing Krishna's complaint for so long. Now she becomes really angry. And now she wants to teach Krishna a lesson. Many times mothers, they love their child, but they also want to discipline their child. So herein we see Mother Yashoda becomes so angry, and in that anger, she takes a stick in her hand. Now, when she takes that stick in her hand, Krishna becomes fearful. Now, that Krishna, who is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our Acharyas explain that the fear personified, that is death or Yamaraj, he is fearful of this Krishna, but hearing Krishna, that baby boy, he is fearful seeing Mother Yashoda in that stick. Now he feels that I have done a big blunder, I have done a big mistake, I don't know what to do. And then Krishna starts running. Now, while running, you know, all this house is full of his buttery footprints. And then he's hiding somewhere, and Mother Yashoda is running behind him. The chase has begun, and Mother Yashoda is trying to see where is Krishna, where is Krishna. And finally, after going around, she comes in the courtyard, and finally sees Krishna, and she runs behind Krishna. And while running, her beautiful hairs were decorated with beautiful malati flowers. So our acharyas described that the flowers in the spiritual world, they are also personalities. So they said that Mother Yashoda, she's trying to catch Krishna, but while catching Krishna, our flowers are causing some burden. So they fell down from her hair. So in this way, they are also assisting Mother Yashoda in the chase. So in this way, she somehow started running, and finally she caught hold of this naughty Krishna. And while she caught this baby Krishna, Krishna started crying. Krishna was sobbing. Krishna was, feeling so much, fear. And this whole episode has been beautifully described in 8 verses by one great devotee called Satyavrat Muni. And he describes this 8 verses as Damodar Ashtakam. Damodar Ashtakam means that 8 verses which describes this beautiful pastime of Yashoda Damodar. So Satyavrat Muni in the second verse, he describes these beautiful pastimes of Krishna in this verse. He says, Rudantamuhur netram yugmam rijantam karam bhoja yugmena satanka netram. He says that Krishna is Rudantam, he's crying, continuously crying. And when somebody cries, he looks ugly. But herein, Krishna, although crying, he was looking beautiful. Because the mascara from the eyes of Krishna and the tears, it is adding the beauty of Krishna. So Krishna, that's why he's not an ordinary person, he's an extraordinary person. And herein, we see that although he was crying, he was looking beautiful, his whole bodily features were looking beautiful. But at the same time, herein, he's doing, he's performing the extraordinary activities. And when Mother Yashoda catches him, and she tells that, today I am going to teach you a lesson. So now she's thinking that how do I punish my child? How do I punish my child? So then she sees a wooden grinding mortar. Now in villages, even today, they have this grinding mortar by which they grind spices. So there was a big, huge wooden grinding mortar. So she thought that let me bind Krishna. So she brought Krishna near that wooden grinding mortar, and that was a time when Krishna, was caught and she was about to be bound. So she brought the ropes and she was trying to tie Krishna. But when she was about to tie Krishna, something very mysterious happened. The rope was 2 fingers short, right? So then she brought some more ropes. She tied that rope. Again she tried. Again it was 2 fingers short. Again she brought more ropes. She tied 2 fingers short. She brought all the ropes which were there in her cow barn, in her goshala. And all the ropes came. Again she tried, but it was 2 fingers short. Now what was happening? Was Krishna's belly increasing? Now Krishna was a baby boy. How much was his belly? This big? But still she was not able to tie. Right? But then Mother Yashoda did not give up. She went on searching more ropes, trying. She was trying her best, getting help from all her maid servants. And finally, seeing the endeavor of Mother Yashoda, Krishna became, okay, let me be tied by this mother. You know, the person who is unconquerable, the person who is undefeatable, he is ready to be defeated by his mother. And that's what Krishna here is trying to explain us. So that's the moment where Krishna agreed to be bound. And since that day, Krishna gets one another name. The name is Damodar. Damodar means one who is bound by the rope of the mother of Yashoda. One whose belly is bound by the rope. Udara means belly, Dam means rope. So one who's bound with the rope, he's Damodar. So that's the whole Damodar Lila. Now the glory of this pastime is, somebody might say, what is so big thing? The biggest thing is what nobody could do. A simple coward woman like Mother Yashoda, she could do. Because she had that unflinching love, bhakti, that could bound Krishna. So the moral of this pastime is that you can only bind Krishna only by your unflinching devotional service. Otherwise, it is impossible to bind Krishna. That is the whole episode of Damodar Lila. And then when Krishna was bound, and then Mother Yashoda goes back to do her regular chores, and then Krishna is standing in that courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And then the next chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam comes the deliverance of the sons of Kuvera, that is Nalakuver and Manigri. Now somebody might say, a person who is already bound, how can he deliver somebody? Now that is why this is the Leela or the extraordinary activities of Krishna. So Krishna, although bound with that wooden grinding mortar, what is Krishna doing? He goes near the two tall Arjuna trees, and that is where Krishna goes and he breaks the two trees. Now Arjuna trees are very, very strong. Some of the Arjuna trees, they live for 5,000 years, and that trees were broken by Krishna, and from that two trees, these two brothers, the Nalakuver and the Manigriv, they appeared and they offered their prayers. Actually, both of these brothers, they were son of Kuveras and they were cursed to become trees, and Krishna delivered them. So, a person who is bound, but still he could deliver them from all the sins, and they again glorified Krishna, and then they went and they were liberated. So that is the glory of this whole pastime of Damodar Lila, that you can conquer Krishna by bhakti, right? So our Acharya explains that the two important aspects have been explained here, and that is, the first principle is our endeavor. If you want to conquer Krishna, the first aspect is you should endeavor. You should endeavor. Just like Mother Yashoda, she endeavored. She did not give up. So similarly, when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we should endeavor. And that is the first aspect, our endeavor. And the second finger represents the mercy factor. Now, many times in our life, whatever activity we do, but the most important aspect is, unless we get the mercy of the Lord, we cannot do anything. Right? There's a famous saying which says, without Krishna's will, even a small blade of grass doesn't move. Right? So that mercy of Krishna is a very important aspect. So these are the two important principles of this whole Damodar Lila. So this was the wonderful lesson which I wanted to share with all of you on the episode of Damodar Lila. So now we heard this beautiful Damodar Lila. Now let's understand what are the lessons that we can learn now. Right? Many times people say that this is 5,000 years old, past times. How can it relate to me? So let's try and understand what are the lessons we can learn from this Damodar Lila, right? So I have come up with an acronym, Damodar Lila. To remember it easily, we'll use the acronym called as Damodar. Damodar spelling everybody knows, Damodar. That is Damodar, right? So first, D stands for devotion. Krishna says in the Gita, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati, that by only devotional service one can conquer him. So that's why devotion to Krishna is the most important aspect. You know, in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Krishna, it is said that only by bhakti or pure devotional service one can purchase Krishna. Because Krishna is only hungry of one thing, that is bhakti or the love of his devotees. So that D stands for devotion. So devotion is something really very important, and Krishna can go to any extent to fulfill this desire of his devotees. We have the example of Vidura. Now Vidura was a minister in Hastinapur, and he invited Krishna many times, but Krishna, although so busy with so many other affairs, he couldn't come. But one time Krishna was invited by Duryodhan in Hastinapur with thousands of preparations in a royal way. But Krishna did not go there. Krishna go in the house of Vidura. And he knocked at the door of Vidura, but he saw Vidura was not there, his wife was there. And at that moment, Vidura became Vidura's wife. She became stunned that Krishna has come. And at that time, she thought that what can I do? What can I offer Krishna? So immediately she offered what was available, and that was bananas. And out of great excitement, she started peeling the banana, but by mistake she was feeding the banana skin to Krishna and taking out the banana fruit. But Krishna did not speak anything. He accepted that banana peel. And then later on, when Vidura came and he saw what is happening, he chastised his wife that, you stupid lady, don't you know what you're doing? And then she came back to the senses. So the point which I'm trying to share is that Bhakta Vatsalya, just by devotional service, Krishna is ready to do anything. And the second aspect of Damodar is DA. A stands for attention to details. Now attention to details is a sign of love. And herein in this pastime we see how Mother Yashoda, she worked hard so much just so that Krishna can be pleased. Similarly, if we want to please Krishna, we should also develop attention to details. We have the example of Shabari. Shabari, she tasted all the fruits just so that she can understand which is sweeter, so that Lord Ram can enjoy the sweetest fruit or that berries which she wanted to offer Krishna. So in this way, we see that attention to details is a sign of love. Then comes the third acronym, or the third part of the acronym, that is M. M stands for mercy. As we already discussed, that without the mercy of the Lord, nothing is possible. So we should do our best and leave the rest on Krishna. So in this pastime also we saw that how Mother Yashoda, she did, all her best to tie Krishna. But at the end, Krishna was pleased by her endeavor, and Krishna, gave her mercy. So that mercy aspect is very important. Then comes the fourth lesson, which is O. O stands for only by Krishna's mercy or Krishna's shelter one can be free from all the sins. Like we heard the pastime of Nal Kuver and Manigri. They were actually cursed by Kuvera. They were actually cursed by Narad Muni, but then Narad Muni became very angry on them because they were completely naked and they were enjoying in this Mandakini rivers with young ladies. Narad Muni became so upset that he cursed them that you become like trees. And at that moment, they were cursed to become trees. but Krishna delivered them. So that's why O stands for only by Krishna's mercy, one can be freed from all sins. As stated in the Gita by Krishna in the 18th chapter, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajah aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha isha mima suchaha. He says that by the mercy of Krishna, one who takes shelters of Krishna, that is the time when one can be liberated from all the sinful reactions of this world. So that stands for only by Krishna's shelter this can happen. The next D stands for devotion can conquer Krishna. Right? We have heard this pastime of how Mother Yashoda, although she was a simple lady, a simple coward woman, but she could conquer or defeat Krishna. She could catch Krishna. So that's why bhakti has such a potency that it can conquer the person who is unconquerable. It is said that to achieve Krishna is so difficult. It is said that the yogis, they meditate for thousands and thousands of years, but still they'll not be able to attain the darshan of the Lord. But herein, the person who is unconquerable is conquered by the bhakti aspect. So that's why the D stands for devotion to Krishna, and then A stands for again attraction towards Krishna can be developed only by hearing this beautiful pastime. So this beautiful Leela, Damodar Lila, which we heard, this whole beautiful pastime, why Krishna is performing such extraordinary pastimes? Because he wants to attract the conditioned soul. In fact, the 10th canto, Shukdev Goswami says that Krishna exclusively appears in this form of a human-like form, Uda Kapata Manusha. He comes in the form of this human form of life just so that he can develop this extraordinary relationship with his devotees and he attracts them. So that hearing these beautiful pastimes of Krishna, one develops that enchantment and he develops that love. And in this way, after hearing Krishna, we develop that attraction and we go back home, back to Godhead. And the last and the most important aspect or the lesson of Damodar Lila is R for remembrance. Remembrance is the ultimate benediction. Many times people say, okay, if God comes, what will I ask? I will ask for car, I will ask for gold, I will ask for bank balance. But all the great devotees, all the great acharyas, whenever the Lord has told them that you should ask any benediction, all of them have unanimously said that, my dear Lord, we don't want anything. What we want your devotion, and more than that, we want your remembrance. Because remembrance is considered as the ultimate benediction. Even the great Satyavrat Muni in Damodar Ashtakam, he says, Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Va Nachanyam Rineham Vareshadapiha. He says that, my dear Lord, I do not want moksha also. I just want to remember this beautiful childhood pastimes of yours. So that is the ultimate benediction. So that was the whole discussion which we discussed. So today we described this beautiful enchanting pastime of Damodar Lila. We described how Krishna is a butter thief, and then we described how Mother Yashoda tries to make butter, and then Krishna eats that butter, and that whole episode how Mother Yashoda tries to chase Krishna and catch him and binds him, and this whole beautiful pastime of Damodar Lila we heard. And then we discussed the lessons of Damodar Lila. We described the acronym Damodar, Damodar, and that's the whole aspect which we have discussed. So I thank you, all of you, for your kind attention, and I thank you for this wonderful opportunity I got. I thank Govardhan Eco Village for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Krishna Janmashtami Mahotsav ki jai. Hare Krishna.